from Southeast Minnesota Arts Council as an established artist, and he's made this amazing piece of sculpture that he's going to talk about, play a little bit of a video for us. Owner of the Boathouse, if anybody has enjoyed those tasty beverages and food they have over there. Gallery owner, son of Leo and Marilyn, who are some of our favorite artists here in Winona. And so please join me in welcoming Lyon Smith.
Thanks everybody for coming out. This is the piece here. It's called Driftless, Tryptic. I got a short little presentation of how kind of the process of making the piece. Then I'm going to show a video, which is going to be a time-lapse video of me kind of carving and painting, so you'll have kind of a better understanding of how long a piece like this takes. Basically, I started this in last September, and I got the wood from a guy named John Jordan out in Money Creek, which Jamie Shell introduced me to, and he told me that this wood was grown in La Crescent, Minnesota, and it was blown down by a wind, and I guess he's got a sawmill out there, and he chopped it up into these big boards, and it's kind of stacked up.
What kind of wood is it?
It's basswood. So this is kind of what I started with this project. I went out there and loaded it into my station wagon September last year, and went down to Jamie's studio. And in the meantime, I was thinking about what am I going to do. I drew some sketches for the piece I had in mind. And I wanted to get kind of a look, kind of a style that I've been thinking about for a while. So I got a piece of the wood and kind of started chipping away at it. And I brought some tools here. This is these are called mallets. These are a couple mallets I have. So I've got, some wood carving chisels. This is kind of a good one for gouging a lot of material off quickly. So these are some tools that I use and kind of, go from sketch to drawing on the wood and kind of playing with the form. And I wanted to do, hills. So this is basically a bunch of hills. You're standing up on a bluff, looking down at the Mississippi River. So this is the river down here. These are supposed to be kind of big cliffs that are predominant in the driftless area. And one day I was up on top of a bluff and I saw a sandhill crane, but actually two sandhill cranes fly by kind of at eye level, and they made that that kind of honking noise. And it's just something you don't really forget. It's like the old it's a dinosaur basically. He's got some very professional woodworking equipment. We planed it down and we just basically used glue to create three big chunks. That's kind of where the driftless comes in, where the Tryptic comes in. So it's three big chunks of basswood. It was originally about 5.5 inches thick, I think. And like some of this actually carved almost all the way through it. Like back in here, it's only maybe 1/2 inch thick. So that's 6 months of just chipping away. So you gotta draw, you gotta paint, you gotta kind of look at it. So from the point that we laminated all the wood together, I took it out to a little cabin that I've been using as a studio, and I contracted some big pulley system to kind of hold the piece up, so it's very heavy, and started sketching and kind of getting the design down in full size, and just keep carving and keep working on it as I drew, and it kind of developed a bit. I had my sons help me carve a little bit. It was kind of an educational experience for them to watch the process of how the piece was made. They like to just sit there and hammer away on it. I didn't work too hard. Still in 3 different panels. So I could take one down and kind of put it on a bench. I'll show you a video later which will show that process. And then I started putting color on it. And I would chip away at it and color it and kind of try to get the contours correct. It's a very long process. I'm glad it's done.
What type of paint?
It's mostly acrylic paint. But at the same time, I got this piece done, but I'm kind of envisioning more pieces kind of in the same genre. Almost, and I thought of an idea of creating kind of a big circular bunch of panels that you can kind of walk into. So you can, I don't know if you looked at the back, but there's birch bark on the back. I painted birch bark all around it. So if you want, you guys can come take a look at it. And I was thinking maybe just create a room that you could walk and see this panorama of the whole Driftless area. So it's kind of, you experience, you learn from your experience, and you kind of, having a grant and a capstone project really makes you think outside the box. And you kind of like push yourself to the limits of what you're doing. And it's been a good experience. A couple little details here. This is what the crane used to look like. It slowly develops over time. It's abstract, and you kind of just mold it to.
So was he blue? Is that a blue crane?
It's actually a black, it's an ivory black. Ivory black paint. I watered the paint down a lot, so it kind of soaked into the wood. The wood is very dry. Probably, I think it was in a kiln for 6 months or something, and then it dried for a few years. So I'd like to show you a video so you can kind of see what it takes to make a piece like this. So show a Vimeo video we just uploaded over the course of maybe a month and a half. As I kind of got into the yes, it's swamp.
You're pretty quick.
Wait, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
So you want the mallet in your right hand? Is that what I was watching?
Well, I guess I like to hold, I like to hit with the right hand and hold
Because
the
you have
mallet.
more control over that.
I guess so. But you got to learn how to do both.
This is kind of amazing watching this.
Yeah, you're going to see it develop. It's just a bunch of short little clips. They're all about, 15 or 20 seconds, but I pasted them together, and the video is about 11 minutes long. So you just kind of see how it develops. Educational.
Did you make any mistakes?
Lots of them.
Did you glue anything back together?
Oh yeah. Constantly.
How old were you when you started?
I probably started when I was like
3.5.
I guess 3.5. And the funny thing is, this is kind of where I first started carving. Because this is my dad's old house. He used it as a studio when he was starting as a sculptor. So, it's got a little bit of family tradition and kind of working. It's a place called the Swamp House, which is a little cabin, and it's got barrels, and it's like a combination boathouse cabin type place. But it worked really well to use as a sculpture studio. It's got nice lights, and surrounded by a forest, so I can kind of go outside and just look at the hills, and see the shapes and what I was trying to do, the colors, what I was trying to create. So it's a very inspirational spot to work for me.
Did you eat with your waist?
Yep, I would start the fire in the morning, has a little wood stove, and I bought a chainsaw with John Swanson. We split the chainsaw, and I've been chopping wood out there. Kind of got to start the fire every morning. The little chips really work good as kind of, especially when there's a 6-inch pile like around the base of it.
On your carving on the strokes there, what made you choose this not homogeneous is the wrong word, but because to me clearly you're using this stroke, this cutting style over and over again.
Yep. What made me do that?
Yeah, what made you choose that way of picking the stuff out?
Of how I chose? Well, what I would do, I'd draw, like those are the islands there I'm carving.
Right.
So I would draw the shapes and then, go down and kind of develop it. But it was just that, those are the tools I have and those are the shapes they make. I chose those tools because they kind of like how the cuts look when you paint it. You can create some dimension with the paint. Then I would sand that. Yeah, right after this part. Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun to see how it works. I thought it would capture, like a little video of the process that I use. So that's just some watered down black paint, basically. And it kind of, when you're looking at the piece, it's all one color, so it really helped to color it with a black to start off with for me. It kind of just gave me the contrast that I was looking for, and I could see my mistakes. Because you basically like creating a pattern. And I think as the artist, maybe I can only see that pattern that I'm trying to create. But just this process kind of helped me see what I was trying to make. I don't know if that makes sense or not. So this is kind of a cool part where I had it all, getting closer to completion. And I decided to get some base colors down, get a base coat. You can see all the wood chips. I would sweep those up in the morning. Start to fire. Yeah, it's a lot of exercise.
I was just gonna say, how's your back?
Really, it's a good workout.
What are like the percentages of painting to carving?
Painting to carving? Well, I think I started painting it the last month of the project. So, the first 5 months I was just drawing, taking off material and kind of designing as it went. And then the last month was painting. But, I figure I probably have 800 to 1,000 hours in total process with this project.
I don't see you sharpening your tools at all. Do you have your dad do that, or?
Yeah, he helps out once in a while. He actually helped out a little bit. Him and my mom at the end here, they kind of came in and kind of helped me with the final finish on it. We mixed up a kind of a custom 3-part finish that my mom has developed. Gives it a nice, the colors kind of pop. And she helped me with some of the birch on the back. My dad helped with a little bit of finishing carving because I was kind of running out of time there. So you gotta get in there. What was that?
It looked like the glue joint separated, then you had to put it back together again?
It's not glued yet.
Yeah, it's not glued together yet.
Oh, okay.
So it's still, I think you'll see in the next little clip, you'll see maybe some carving on the bench.
How many pair of pants did you go through holes in these?
Maybe about 4. Yeah, so this is laying down on the bench. And what I shot this all on my cell phone. Yeah. I mounted it to a tripod. And I try to shoot 2 videos a day for like a month and a half. When I worked, I would just go out and set up, start the fire, set up the tripod, and then just hit it.
Do you listen to music?
I listen to a lot of Minnesota Public Radio, usually, but sometimes I listen to music. I've got a record player out there. I've got some old.
I'm trying to figure out why you kept painting it and carving it off.
That's just, it lets me see the contrast of the piece. See, I'm thinking about the finished look of it, and I want to kind of put colors down.
So you're watching your stroke. You're watching your carving stroke in that with the color?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm creating the strokes that I want and the contrast. I see I'll put some color down, and a lot of there's little bits that I'll keep. There's little bits of color that I'll keep. So you create kind of a bunch of different layers of paint as you go. It's just kind of a style that I'm developing. I don't know why I did it. Thought it was cool.
Yeah, that looks familiar.
But you see things like, I wanted to try out a different texture on that part of the water there. So, and sometimes you'd see cracks in the wood, like you wouldn't have the perfect cut. And I would want to go back and try to clean that little area up just so it's very precise, and very, the detail is exactly how I want it. I don't want a bunch of like little crummy bits on the wood. And it's kind of, it's like challenging wood to work with because it had some dry spots. There was knots in it.
What other kind of projects have you done?
I've been making sculpture, like I said, since I was a little kid. I've made hundreds of different sculptures. I've sold quite a few of them over the past 20 or 30 years, I would say. I paint. I've done a lot of architectural design work and 3D design, product design.
An electric car.
Actually, if you guys get the Science Channel, I'm going to be on a TV show next Wednesday on the Science Channel. It's a different project I did. It's creating an electric vehicle. I built it over at Mike Chickanowski's shop that went on the Canoe Factory out of carbon fiber. And it's kind of, it's an interesting project. It's called All American Makers, and it's on Wednesday, Science Channel at 9 o'clock.
Science Channel?
Science Channel, yes, Discovery Science Channel.
Lyon, what was the process you had to go through to get the grant?
Well, first of all, you have to kind of think of the idea. And then there's the application. They ask you a bunch of questions. And you have to fill it out and kind of give a detailed description of your project. You have to find a place that's a non-profit organization, which you can have your Capstone event. So thank you to the Marine Art Museum for letting me
Please, this is amazing.
use this space here.
Mesmerizing.
And I worked with a grant writer. I wrote the thing and then gave it to a professional grant writer, and they reviewed it, gave it back to me. Then I submitted the first round last February or something. I got denied the first time. So then I just kind of looked at their notes. They'll send you back their report, and you can read the notes. And I tweaked my presentation a little bit. I got accepted. 6 months later, what you actually make is something very different, especially when you got such a complex project like this. So I just didn't like the big seams, especially with the design of the piece. But,
So show them where the seams would have been.
there's a big seam here and here. But actually it's 6 pieces, so there's another seam here, here, and here. So it's all laminated together.
That tree is apart, that's not attached later, right? You carved that tree in the round.
Yep. It's like the size of 2 men.
Lyon, tell me what I'm looking at, like a bluff dwelling, like with a little door into the side of the book. The bluff?
That's a cave.
It's just a cave, like
Just a cave.
just a cave, but like what? Okay, okay. You have a couple of them, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of them in there. I don't know if you guys checked out the piece up close. Would you guys like to come up and just kind of take a look at it up close, and I can kind
Yeah,
of.
we'll just
I'd like you guys to come up
around the
and
back.
see it. Let me just move this stuff out of the way so that we cut some salt. This is very sharp.
Definitely.